You may now begin your presentation.
At Enactus Ottawa, we believe the issues we face today require sustainable solutions that empower communities to take control of their challenges and meet them head on.
Today, we'll show you how we're developing impactful solutions through Poly and NIBI, 2 of our 5 projects that use the power of entrepreneurship to take action against some of our country's most complex problems.
Plastic is everywhere. In 2021, global plastic production reached nearly 400 million tons, causing immense climate impacts. And across the globe, it is currently estimated that there is over 140 million tons of plastic accumulated in our rivers, seas, and oceans.
And even with renewed commitments to eliminate single-use plastics, it is estimated that Canadians will still be using over 2 million tons of plastic annually by the year 2030.
Our solution is Poly, an innovative social enterprise that manufactures, sells, and operates small-scale plastic recycling systems, allowing anyone to turn their community's plastic waste into brand new products.
In researching a way to tackle the plastic waste problem, we spoke to experts on waste management. We discovered that out of all the plastic produced globally, only 9% of it gets recycled.
Knowing this, we wanted to create a solution that made recycling more accessible and environmentally impactful, but also economically viable.
To do this, we worked with industry experts to take the exact technology used in massive recycling plants and scale it down to fit in a workshop, school, or community organization.
Our system consists of a shredder, which shreds plastic down into small pieces, and an injection molder that takes those pieces, melts them down, and shapes them into new products using interchangeable molds.
Here's how it works. Operators collect plastic via partnerships with community organizations and local businesses. The plastic is then cleaned, sorted, and passed through their Poly system, ending with a beautiful product that's ready for sale.
Poly systems can recycle 4 out of the 7 common types of plastics, all while diverting up to 280,000 water bottles each year, reducing CO2 emissions, oil, and water usage.
Our systems can be used by 3 main groups: entrepreneurs, schools, and community organizations. In order to reach our customers, we use a series of inbound and outbound marketing techniques to qualify and identify prospective operators who could benefit from operating a Poly system.
Poly has 3 revenue streams: leasing and selling systems, operating our own systems, and designing and producing interchangeable molds.
We sell our Poly systems for $28,000 at 25% gross margins, or we lease them starting at $1,600 a month. We also generate recurring revenue by charging operators for the design and production of additional molds that can create new products.
Our team works with each potential customer to ensure they have a reliable source of plastic, well-designed products, and a sales and marketing strategy. An operator running their system for 25 hours per week can make roughly $10,000 in profit per year by selling recycled plastic goods through both B2B and B2C channels.
With our technology and business model finalized, we began operating our own Poly system to address the plastic waste crisis in our hometown of Ottawa. Let's take a look at how our team and operators are using their Poly systems.
At the University of Ottawa, we've partnered with the Telfer School of Management and the campus design team to create an art installation made from 100% locally sourced plastic.
In Kingston, Ontario, we've partnered with Marco, a local entrepreneur who runs his own product design business. We're currently working with Marco to design an interchangeable cup mold.
We've also leased a system to Andy from Brantford, Ontario. Andy and his company, MEA Health, will be using Poly to recycle plastic waste from the medical industry and transform it into backsplash tiles.
And in Fredericton, New Brunswick, we just sold a shredder to George Street Middle School. Staff and students will be using their Poly system to set up a school recycling and education program.
And that's not all. We're currently talking to potential leads about how they can use our Poly systems.
Educators want to use Poly systems to teach students about plastic recycling and entrepreneurship.
Local artisans want to create products like keychains and jewelry.
Entrepreneurs want to create accessibility devices for individuals with disabilities.
And right here in Montreal, we're discussing the sale of a shredder to convert plastic waste into biofuel.
This year, Poly has directly impacted over 550 youth, generated $18,000 in revenue, and diverted over 6,000 water bottles worth of plastic, saving 800 pounds of CO2, 270 pounds of oil, and over 11,000 liters of water.
At the core of our Enactus team is the drive to keep innovating. We've shown you what we've accomplished with Poly, and now we'd like to share how we're tackling another significant challenge facing our nation.
Water is essential and fundamental to life. For the average Canadian, everyday activities like drinking, bathing, and cooking can require over 120,000 liters of water every year.
When was the last time you paused to reflect on the water you were using? Many of us in Canada are fortunate to have access to reliable and safe tap water without ever having to question it.
Kwe kakana. My name is Alexandra Whiteduck. I'm an Algonquin woman from Kitigan Zibi Anishinabeg, a First Nations community just 2 hours north of Ottawa. I grew up without access to safe and clean drinking water. To this day, half of my community cannot use their own tap water, and they are not alone.
My age is 12. Our water was dirty and we were on boiled water advisory. And our bottled water had to be shipped in because we barely had any water in the stores. We had water shipped in, but the water was $52. My mission and my friends and teachers' mission is to clean the water that we deserve.
Since 2015, there have been over 150 water advisories issued in Indigenous communities across Canada. An advisory is declared when water is deemed to be unsafe for human use or consumption. In some communities, advisories have been in effect for over 25 years.
Even once water advisories are officially resolved, 73% of communities remain at risk of water recontamination. This leaves over 2 million people in Indigenous communities without reliable access to clean water.
In conducting our needs assessment, we learned that communities are facing distinct challenges to water insecurity based on their location, existing infrastructure, and water contamination, making it impossible to design and implement a uniform solution. To address this challenge, we drew on the lived experience of our team member, which allowed us to narrow our focus and identify the role we could play in developing a solution.
So our team created Project NIBI, a social enterprise that facilitates access to safe and clean drinking water through community-tailored filtration infrastructure.
Our team identifies Indigenous communities in Canada currently under boil water advisory or at risk for recontamination. We then work collaboratively and respectfully with partner communities to identify their specific needs. Working with certified laboratories, we facilitate water quality testing and the identification of contaminants.
After compiling knowledge of a community's situation, we then collaborate with our network of engineering partners and water specialists to design a tailored solution. Finally, we return to the community to gain approval from key leaders before coordinating the infrastructure's installment.
Filtration solutions start from as little as $5,000 per system. For communities who can't afford these systems, we also operate our own revenue-generating activities.
By providing water infrastructure to just a single Indigenous community of approximately 5,000 individuals, we could facilitate access to over 600 million liters of clean water every year.
To pilot our project, we reached out to my community of Kitigan Zibi Anishinabeg, which has faced a uranium-contaminated water supply for over 20 years. We've conducted water testing, secured a source of funding, and are in talks with our engineering partners and key community leaders to finalize our solution. Once our systems are installed in 22 homes, we will deliver approximately 10.5 million liters of clean water every single year.
Additionally, the community currently sources their water from weekly plastic water jug delivery. Once installed, our solution will eliminate the production of 300,000 plastic water bottles every single year.
But we didn't stop there. By enabling entrepreneurial action in our community, we're now seeing both Poly and NIBI working together to create a cleaner and more sustainable Canada.
After we delivered STEM and entrepreneurial workshops at St. George Elementary School in Ottawa, students were inspired to launch their very own microventure, Every Last Sip. The students partnered with Poly to sell coasters made from 100% recycled plastic. The proceeds will then support NIBI in building water infrastructure for Amos Comenius Memorial School in Hopedale, Labrador.
Our team has conducted water testing, secured approval from local authorities in Hopedale, Labrador, and are finalizing our infrastructure design with our engineering partners. Coasters will start shipping later this month, and the students have already generated almost $9,000 in revenue, including a wholesale order from Chapman's Ice Cream.
Once fundraising is complete, we'll be delivering our solution to Hopedale, Labrador with a planned installation date of June 20th, 2023. Once installed, we'll be providing approximately 795,000 liters of clean water every single year.
And that's not all. 5 other schools in our region are now building their own social enterprises and are partnering with Project NIBI to support clean water projects in communities across Canada.
This is what can be accomplished when students use entrepreneurship to invest in communities and create sustainable projects that empower individuals and protect our planet.
Through our combined initiatives, our team of over 95 members contributed over 9,000 volunteer hours, met 10 sustainable development goals, and created real, sustainable impact.
With Poly, we're paving the way for operators to tackle the plastic waste crisis in their communities.
This year, we've generated over $18,000 in revenue,
Diverted over 6,000 water bottles worth of plastic.
And saved 800 pounds of CO2, 270 pounds of oil, and over 11,000 liters of water.
With NIBI, we're empowering Indigenous communities across Canada with access to safe and clean drinking water.
This year, we've generated over $20,000 in revenue.
Directly impacted over 700 youth through educational workshops.
Empowered young entrepreneurs to create sustainable social enterprises.
And this June, we'll break ground on our first infrastructure system in Hopedale, Labrador, providing 795,000 liters of clean water every year.
This is what happens when students come together to create sustainable, positive impact using the power of entrepreneurship.
We believe in a greener,
More sustainable.
More equitable future.
And we are Enactus U Ottawa.
We will now begin the question and answer period. Judges, please raise your hand to indicate you have a question, and a microphone will be brought to you. When asking your question, please stand if you are able.
Have you looked into what the environmental impact is on the poly product, on the shredding and the injection molding process? Does it emit CO2s, and have you quantified it?
Yes, so compared to the production of brand new plastic, poly systems use 99% less oil, 83% less CO2, and 97% less water. Additionally, our systems consume about the same energy consumption of a standard washing machine or dryer, and therefore we don't see this as a negative externality, as our machines use less energy than your average household.
Once you get water resources into the communities like you're planning to, how do you think about ensuring that the resources and expertise is there long-term to maintain these systems for the long run?
Thank you for the question. So initially, when we go into the communities, our engineering partners ensure that the water operators in the communities are trained in operating the systems. We also give communities about 5 years of spare parts along with the initial installment of their infrastructure. Additionally, we remain available to the communities if needed, should they need us down the line.
With the NIBI project, are your engineering and water expert partners, are they doing that as community service and social entrepreneurship themselves, or are there costs involved, and is it scalable?
Thank you for the question. Our engineering partners are Life from Water. They are based in Egypt, and we are helping bridge that gap between Egypt and Canada by involving them in our pilot projects. We are currently piloting 2 pilot projects. We are negotiating with two other communities, and we have reached out to 12 additional communities. We are also looking to expand in the future into rural communities as well as municipalities.
Is there a selection criteria or method of prioritizing which communities you'll offer the NIBI operation to? And it seems as though you're able, or at least start to provide a solution that governments and others engaged in this issue haven't been able to do. How is that possible?
Thank you for the question. NIBI works on a case-by-case basis to identify the specific needs of the community. We ensure that we identify the severity of the water issue in the community and the ability of the community, the ability for the community to access funding. We are not limited to working with one specific community. For the other part of your question, Indigenous Services Canada focuses on implementing generalized public water systems. NIBI is focused on entry point, modular systems, filtration infrastructure. So it's easier and more cost efficient to install and maintain.
In your research, have you identified the cause of the poor water quality in the regions that you are from?
Thank you for the question. Every single community is unique due to the terrain or the system either already in place or not in place. So we make sure that we identify these issues first and then create a solution built on those needs.
Are any of the components for NIBI built with products that have been formed through poly?
Thank you for the question. So at the moment, the products are manufactured by our engineering partners. We have thought about potentially using poly to construct some of these components, but for now, we are just sticking with those components from the initial partner.
So in terms of the modular filtration devices installed in homes, has it been tried by anybody else before?
Thank you for the question. As of right now, our partner True North Aid has identified us as one of their main partners for water security because they have not seen another project with the same process as NIBI.
Your time has expired. Judges and guests, please help me in thanking the team from University of Ottawa. Judges, we ask that you please stay in your seats as the next team's presentation will begin momentarily.